Hi, this is Jen from the Crocheters of Awesome blog. You can also find me on Ravelry. My username is Jen2291, and we have a Crocheters of Awesome group or forum over there where you can ask any crochet questions, catch up with what you're working on, that kind of thing. It's been a while since we've chatted, and as you might recall, my daughter's wedding was coming up the last time we spoke. It was a beautiful, beautiful day, and we were all very happy to celebrate with them. And it meant for a busy couple of weeks getting ready for the wedding, but also the week after because we were babysitting the little ones for a few days. And we had a great time, but it does mean no yarny fun for me when we have those things going. You know, it's okay though. I also have had a couple of things going on health-wise. Those of you who deal with chronic issues or chronic pain in particular know what I'm talking about when I say you have flares. So because that was such a busy couple of times, I also had a week where, you know, my psoriatic arthritis was flaring a little bit. I got still working on my trigger finger thumb. And my hip has been bothering me, so we got a cortisone injection, some MRI to see if there's anything else going on in there. So I go to the doc tomorrow, so we'll see what he has to say. But also, I have been able to reduce my meds by 1. I know it doesn't sound like much to people, but when you're in 17, you go to 16, it's a success story, right? So my blood pressure has been up because my pain level has been up. And my docs raised the question of whether it's better to increase my blood pressure medication or try to reduce one of my other meds. And since I've been on Xolair for a while, that's with an Xolair, it's helped my allergies so much that my asthma is so much improved that we took a look at the theophylline I was taking, which is an old school med. Most people don't take it anymore. My allergies were so bad, we were just doing anything to try to get me off the prednisone. The Xolair, I was able to get off the prednisone, and now I can say that I'm off the theophylline as well. And there's a couple other things we might be able to reduce in the meantime. So that's been amazing. Also, it's October. And in my neighborhood, that means the pumpkin and chili party at Schnepp Farms. It's so much fun. It's really casual, but they have a great farm there you can visit anytime. They've got a U-pick garden and a great little shop in there where they make homemade pies. Trust me, the homemade pies. Steve would do anything for one of those pies. Just about. But during the pumpkin and chili party, they have everything open, and they've got the carousel, they've got pony rides, they've got pig races, they've got the BMX bikers, plus all the rides that they normally have, and the roller coaster and the pumpkin launch and all those crazy things. And it's a really fun day for us. So last weekend, we took the older kids and their parents to the pumpkin and chili party. This weekend, we're taking the younger grandkids and their parents to the pumpkin and chili party. So I get to go twice. And that's just my favorite way to do October. It really is. It's just gorgeous. There's hay everywhere. There's pumpkins everywhere. And it feels like fall, even though in Arizona, it's still 95 degrees. Until about January. We get fall in, I don't know if you might have just heard my air conditioner kick on. In January, we have about 3 weeks where we're super cold, and then you know, we move on. So anyway, that's my update. It's just been super, super busy, but in fun ways. So I did manage to finish the Tunisian blanket I was working on. That one in the browns and greens, but I gave it to my son-in-law, so you don't get to see the finished blanket. Oh wait, let me put a picture here. So, okay, maybe not the best picture, but you get the idea. It's gorgeous. And then I've also been working on hats and everything for the veterans at the homeless resource center. I didn't say that right. Veterans Resource Center for homeless veterans. Every year, you know, as I go along, as I finish a project, if I've got leftover yarn, then I make a hat or gloves or whatever I can get out of that yarn. That way I don't have too many bits and bobs of yarn hanging out in my stash forever. And I also get to help people and let them know that I care for, you know, what they did for me as an American serving on my behalf. And also just on a human level to keep people warm. So this is a kind of a cool slouchy hat, and it's in Lion Brand mandala yarns. So those are the natural color changes. And it's in a pattern that I love because the bottom is in shorter stitches while the top is in these longer texture stitches, which gives it that natural slouchy shape without a lot of bulk underneath. So I will, I've forgotten the name of the pattern of the designer, but I will link it below. So this is one of the hats that's going to go for charity. And one of my whips is also a hat that's going to go for charity. This is just a basic beanie. I'm getting to the ribbing so you can see, starting to do some post-stitch ribbing there. This is my basic guy hat pattern that I've done in all front post stitches to thicken it up a little bit. I love this cotton yarn. This is yarn left over from my blanket. So I have a couple of places that I send to. One is my local Veterans Resource Center. I have a friend who works over there and helps me out with contacts. He also hooked me up with a contact at the Michigan Veterans Foundation near Detroit. And they get a lot colder than here in Arizona. In Arizona, they like those the watch caps, but in Detroit, they'll take whatever they can get. So every year I try to put a box together and send out, including my friends. So for example, here's an envelope that came from my friend Mary. It's got some hats in there. I'm going to throw in the box. That's awesome. Thank you so much. We're going to have, 40, 50 some hats, gloves, and scarves to send off. That's affecting people's daily lives. So if you've got leftover yarn sitting around right now, get it out. See if you can make basic hats. They don't have to be fancy patterns. Hats, gloves, scarves, send them to your local homeless shelter. Homeless veterans or anybody who's homeless, they need you. But to backtrack a little bit, my other finished project, since I showed you the hat I was making from the leftover yarn, is this blanket. It almost looks like a ripple, but it's really not. There's a 4-row repeat. Again, I'll link it down below. It's a little bit lacy, but you can see it's got purple, orange, and green, and then this kind of oatmeal-y, tweedy oatmeal-y background. This blanket is inspired by a fabric that my friend saw that she really liked. She really liked the way the colors came together. So we kind of went, the inspiration was kind of mostly oatmeal with pops of these colors. So I'm imagining that when this blanket is on the couch, it's going to kind of look like that, right? It's not going to be folded neatly. So I hope that she likes it. Then also out of the leftover yarn, I made these mitts that I know she won't mind that I'm wearing. Happy Halloween! This is my favorite mitt pattern that I use even for the homeless ones too. It's just back loop only, single crochet, and whatever length works. A little opening for the thumb, just long enough to cover the knuckles but not interfere with the fingers, right? But the nice part about this is if you slip the thumb in, then you can push it up. So when it's not super, super cold, especially for these homeless veterans, they don't have to set it down or put it away. They just push it up or pull it on. Super, super easy and super, super cool. So works in progress. Blanket. I'm making another blanket. This one's for my eldest daughter. And you might remember that over the summer I made a Hooked on Sunshine blanket called Atlanticus. And that went to one daughter. This is the partner to that pattern, Liliana. And it's going to go to my other daughter. I don't know if you can see all the texture in there, but those stitches are just gorgeous. And this is after clue 3. The first 2 were round, and then now we've squared it off. It'll be square from here on out. Bernat Pop in full spectrum yarn. I love this yarn. It's got a lot of squish factor, which is really nice. And then next I want to talk to you about, oh, don't forget. See, I already forgot. I don't want you to forget. I've got several videos on the YouTube channel that you should check out. A couple of tutorials, corner to corner, or otherwise known as C2C, if you see that around. It's where you start usually a blanket from the corner and then work over on the diagonal. And it works really great for color blocking and things like that. I've also got some tips in there on how to adjust your blocks. If you've tried corner to corner and it was wonky, your blocks were either, rectangular wide or rectangular tall, how to adjust for that. And so you should check that out. Really popular technique, but it looks a lot harder than it actually is. So check out the video. Also, I just posted a video on puff, bobble, and popcorn stitches. I feel like lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Those 3 stitches get confused a lot. And some of that is because designers use the terms interchangeably. And so it's kind of hard to get a grasp on what they really mean. So you always have to refer to a specific designer's pattern. Usually they'll have a description of the stitch up front. Regardless of what they call it, you can think of it as one of these 3, a puff, a bobble, or a popcorn. So I show all 3 in there. You can see the different textures and how to make them and how to tell them apart. Add some great texture to your projects. Check that out. But lastly, I also went through my fiber and yarn stash and did a quick video on allergy-friendly brands for me that work for me. Again, everybody is so different. Our allergies are so different that wool-free is one thing, but sometimes certain brands work better than others. So you might have to try a couple to find the ones that work for you. But I go all the way from chain store brands to indie brands to luxury brands that work for me. And so I hope that you check that out. The other thing I want you to check out is my new project bag. Isn't that wonderful? Don't you feel like you're in Halloween Town? Oh, you can't see that. It says Happy Halloween. Just fantastic. And on the inside, candy corn. But the thing that I love the most about this is that I literally have that witch costume. I'm so not kidding. I made it when I was in high school. I even have a black hat with the orange rim and the dress and the cape and the whole thing. I mean, this is like me when I was 4. Substitute strawberry blonde. Strawberry blonde, that's the only difference. The rest of it's just me right off the bat. I also have another awesome project bag from Jilly at the Knitting Broomstick. It's the Raven, orange and black, with quotes from The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe on the inside. But I can't show it to you because my husband stole it. It's a birthday present. So when it surfaces again, I will show it to you. Otherwise, I haven't been doing a lot of crafting because I've had so much going on otherwise. But I also want to mention my Halloween book I'm reading. I'm reading Dracula for my doctor's appointments. I have audiobooks I can listen to with my headphones while I'm waiting. But I also started a new book, The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman. And I don't know if you recognize that name, but she's the one who wrote Practical Magic. And I love that movie. I watch it every October. Well, this is the story of Franny and Jet, the 2 old aunts in the movie, Stockard Channing and Diane Wiest. This is the story of their story of when they were younger. And I'm finding it really interesting. So if you like that story, you should check it out. It just came out. But I'm also checking out Dan Brown's Origins. I haven't started that one yet. That's another one that just came out this month. And then the last thing on a personal note that I'm really excited about that happened in the last couple weeks is I got a new guitar. Isn't that gorgeous? It's an Indiana Dakota with that's called the flame top, where the finish gets that kind of wavy look to it. So a co-worker of my husband's won it in a church raffle and sadly doesn't want to learn to play the guitar. So he thought of Steve, brought it to Steve and said, here's your new guitar. Steve loved it, except that Steve is left-handed. But I'm right-handed. I'm right-handed. So it came to me and I love it. So it's sitting next to my ukulele. Steve and I decided that we were going to learn a couple of Christmas songs to play for the kids. and I'm going to go get some practice in now. So until next time, happy crafting.